Aluminum Company of America, the nation's leading producer of aluminum, presents that exciting new headline game, It's News to Me. This man made news this week when he was given the works. Do you know the story? Do you know why this tricycle carried an extra passenger this week? The man who wore these medals this week also took the cake. Do you know how? Here to tangle with these questions and many more are Quentin Reynolds, famous author, commentator, and editor of United Nations World. Martha Scott, star of the current hit Male Animal. Mel Allen, one of America's best-known sportscasters and the voice of the New York Yankees. Our own delightful Anna Lee. And your host of It's News to Me, news correspondent and commentator, John Daly.
Thank you. Good evening, and welcome to It's News to Me. Tonight, once again, we're going to watch our panel answer news questions when they can, make up answers when they have to. And our experts will play against contestants chosen from our studio. So may we have our first studio contestant, please? Sit down, Let's see. This is Mr. Dick Deers. Where are you from, Mr. Deers?
Oklahoma City, sir.
Come on in a bit closer, will you? Oklahoma City.
That's right.
Well, fine. What brings you to New York?
Business?
You like the heat, too, I dare say. Gets hotter than this out in Oklahoma City, doesn't it?
Yes, but not the humidity.
No humidity.
No.
Well, it's always the heat, not the humidity. Well, you seem to have very ready answers for the questions about the weather. I trust that you'll do as well with the news. You've got a pretty tough job to do. Your job is to judge the answers that the panel give to questions related to the news that I ask of them. You've got to decide whether the answer is right or wrong. Our experts will answer correctly if they can, but you want to watch out, because if they cannot, they'll make up an answer and try to fool you. That's a little matter of $20 here with which you play the game.
Very much appreciated.
Now, from this point on, every time your judgment is correct, I'll give you another $5. And every time it's incorrect, I can take $5 away from you. Is that all right?
Bad.
Yeah, that's bad. I thought so, too. You all ready for your first question?
Yes, sir.
All right, for this first question, take a look at our screen. This man was the object of a frantic chase this week when it was discovered that he knew the boss's secret. You know that story? Mel Allen.
Well, John, that story, the thing that made the headlines there was the Republican nominee for the presidency of the United States decided that the humidity about which you spoke a little bit ago was a little too rough in Chicago, and he wanted to go away for a little vacation and rest up a little bit before campaigning for the presidency. And so he set out to join a friend of his at his friend's hideaway or retreat, or ranch, I believe it was, out in the wilderness somewhere in Colorado. He announced his plans, and when he had arrived there, he wanted to really be quiet and alone for a while with the fellow, his friend's name was Nielsen. And the reporters got wind of it. Instead of the Republican presidential nominee having it quiet and peaceful, here were all these reporters at Mr. Nielsen's place, anticipating that. They ducked off somewhere else. And so they all asked Mr. Nielsen where, or at least they were trying to find the boss to find out where General Eisenhower was. I think that's the reference there. That's the gentleman's picture.
Do you accept that answer, Mr. Deers?
I'll probably lose $5. I thought this fellow was Gavin.
Don't say any more. You are $5 richer already. Now, Mel gets E for effort. That's right. That is Thomas J. Gavin of Kansas City, Missouri, who's going to cast President Truman's vote at the Democratic National Convention in Chicago this week. The newsmen, first of all, chased him all around Washington, trying to find out what the president had in mind after he'd had a session with the president of the White House. And now some of my colleagues in Chicago are trying to lay their hands on him, too, because you can't get the answers to anything at this Democratic convention. All right, let's see what we can do with the second question. And for this one, let's watch and listen to the official reprimand in this next little scene.
All right. You were caught trying to escape. And it's up to me to give you punishment as an example to the others. No, it won't be a session on bread and water. That's too easy. No, it won't be solitary confinement. It'll be worse than that. you will lose your most cherished privilege. No, don't plead with me. Don't beg me. For 1 solid month, no raw fish.
And from these cruel and punishing words, can you tell us the story, Martha Scott?
Oh, that's a wonderful story. That's about 6 polar bears who wanted to dig their way to freedom. They dug, one of the polar bears dug a tunnel was starting a long, long tunnel to get to the sidewalk, and his 5 friends stood on lookout.
You accept this answer, Mr. Diaz? Yes, sir. You do? Yes. Mm-hmm. You're a rough man. That makes you $5 richer. Very good. Very good, Miss Martha. 6 polar bears at the Highland Park Zoo in Pittsburgh did indeed dig a tunnel. They wanted to get out. They were supposed to be happy residents of the zoo, but they weren't. They were digging a tunnel, and they'd completed 10 feet of the tunnel. Isn't that wonderful? Well, question number 3, the band played long and loud for Harry last week, but he gave the credit to the Queen. Can you tell us that story, Quentin Reynolds?
Yes, that was just before he went to the hospital. There was a detachment of the Scottish Highlanders at the White House where they serenaded him with their bagpipes and thanked him for all the good work he'd done toward furthering Anglo-American relations. And the president said very graciously that on a visit here last year, Queen Elizabeth did more for Anglo-American relations than the prime ministers and presidents and diplomats of the past 100 years had ever done.
You accept that answer, Mr.
Very
Diaz?
good answer.
It's a very good one. It's going to cost you $5.
He's a tough man to fool.
This Reynolds is a rough boy. You got to watch him. He's a real bad man. Anybody have any idea what that might be? The new Queen of the Seas, the SS United States, won the coveted Blue Ribbon Transatlantic Speed Trophy when she established new speed records for both the east and westbound crossings. Commodore Harry Manning was in the command of this magnificent new American liner. He brought back the Blue Ribbon for the first time in 100 years, and we're mighty proud to have with us tonight Commodore Manning. He's going to tell us something about these great voyages. Will you come out, please? Commodore, how did it feel to take these here blue ribbons?
Well, I have a sort of a mingled emotion about it. One, of course, is great pride that I brought it back to our country. Secondly, I have a little feeling of regret that I had to take it away from our gallant friends, particularly the Queen Mary, the good ship of the Cunard Line. And I hope, of course, if there's ever another ribbon to be taken, it'll be by the Queen Mary.
That's a very generous statement, sir. Now, suppose you tell, I know a lot of our people want to know, and I'm not too certain that I know myself, is there actually a blue ribbon that you get on these crossings?
No, there is not. It's a mythical thing, but we try to drum up a ribbon on a ship. You take a blue petticoat or something like that, and cut it up and put it on the mast.
But what is the mark of the record breaking? Do you get a mark of any kind?
Yes, there is a trophy, which now is in England. Whether we bring that back to this country, I don't know yet. That's being discussed.
Well, I know that you took that great big liner, some 42 miles per hour, I believe, translating it from knots into land miles.
Without getting a ticket.
Without getting a ticket. No cops out where you were. Wish I'd had that kind of secret to use myself.
Well, I began looking back.
You did. What were you looking for? The Queen coming up in your trail, perhaps? Well, I know you did make her go 42 miles an hour, and of course the Queen Mary's in dry dock now, and I just wondered, I know you can't give away any state secrets, but suppose the Queen Mary were to cut your time a bit, do you suppose that we could go snatch it back again?
No, we'd try again. I'm sure we could.
We would. It must give you a great sense of personal satisfaction to have such a fine honor, that is, to bring back to this country the blue ribbons for the Atlantic crossing.
Yes, of course. But I just want to point out that I alone cannot do it. The engine room department, there's the deck department, the navigator, the chief engineer, the watch officers, and right down the line to the lowest mess boy, everybody plays their little part to contribute toward the whole. And I don't want to be praised and complimented too much my own personal part of the thing, but the others, too, must have credit for the achievement.
That's a very generous statement again, sir. Congratulations to a fine captain and a fine ship. Good night, Mr. Cruz. That probably is the best thing I've heard in a long time. You know, I like that business. If get out there and go 42 miles an hour and don't have to worry at all about speed tickets. Well, let's get on to the next question. Can't do anything about it. And for the next question, I'd like all of you, if you will, to take a look at the flag that you see over there. This banner is the only one of its kind in the United States, and because it's on its news to me tonight, it will arrive late at the scene of combat. Can you tell us the story of this flag, Anna Lee?
5 rings. Well, Mr. Dears, that looks to me like the official flag of the Olympic Games, and they opened the 15th Olympiad yesterday at Helsinki, and I think this is the flag.
Would you accept that answer, Mr. Dears? You do accept that answer. You're a tough man. That makes you $5 retro. Anna Lee is absolutely right. That is the official flag of the Olympic Games, which opened at Helsinki, Finland on July 19th. It's the only official Olympic flag in the United States. It was flown here to its news to me by Scandinavian Airlines System, and it's going to be flown right back to Finland after the program by the Scandinavian Airlines System. This year's Olympics Games, by the way, hold particular interest because it's the first time that the world's athletes are going to compete against those of the Soviet Union. Well, a look at our scoring tells us that you've won from the Aluminum Company of America $30. It's also been nice to have you as our guest. Good night, sir.